Hi, everybody. Hey, just so thankful that you are here again, watching or listening to what I have to present to you each week. And first of all, I thought I'd just share a couple of updates within the Turning the Page groupie thingy community. So, this last week, I have launched Turning the Page community, which is new and exciting. So, this is like an online community for people who want to be part of Turning the Page, so we can get to meet each other. Very different to Facebook, so it's a lot more private. I suppose I'll put it that way. Facebook is not going to watch you and collect data from you. It's totally enclosed within the Turning the Page ecosystem as such. And if you want to find out more, just come over to turningthepage.co.nz and you'll find on the website a tab which says community, and you can join up there. The other thing is, when you do come over to Turning the Page website again, you'll notice it looks quite different to what it has done in the past, and this has actually been done so we can actually have that community function happening. And it's quite a new look, it's a more modern look, and I quite like it, and I hope you do too. But today's post is really about secrets, and I've titled it "The Secret Questions of a Secret Life." And many of us, we carry secret questions, and we're just hungry for answers, and we need someone safe, someone secure in themselves, yet vulnerable, to listen to us well. And I remember, it's a painful story for me, because I shared something of myself with a pastor, and then he used it in a sermon, and I felt really exposed. I was once in this small group in a church where our pastor supposedly taught us how to be leaders in the church, and once a fortnight we'd meet, talk with the pastor and fellow people who are doing the course about what was happening in their lives. Then he'd give us some teaching. Perhaps a visiting speaker would chat with us, and overall, it was quite a good thing, and I felt safe. That was until the pastor used something that I shared in total privacy, and he shared it as an illustration in his sermon. Now, look, most of the people in the church service that morning would not have associated the story with me. He didn't say my name, but there were enough people there to know that this illustration was about me. And I felt exposed, angry, and violated. I'd given him my trust, and he used it, my struggle, for his gain. I never trusted him again. And another story of exposure is similar too. I shared something really deep with a pastor, and they too decided to share it with others. And then the whole story gained a momentum and a life of its own. I've concluded that some people shouldn't be in positions where they are to hold another's heart. They are not secure within themselves to keep such a fragile gift. Look, I've heard people's stories, some pretty horrendous stories, and I still do, but I don't share them, and I'll go to my grave with them. And fortunately, as one person said, I have a very good forgetter computer, so I don't hold on to these things. They don't eat away at me. But, for many of us, we have questions and struggles rolling around in our heads, but we don't want anyone to know. And all the struggles internal, if we disclose them, then we're sure to be rejected, dismissed, abandoned. And so we create an alternative life that is very secret. We don't feel safe with the ones whom we're meant to feel safe with. And we think we're the only ones with these struggles. And if you're that person that's listening or watching this, then I want to assure you that you're not the only one living a secret. I think we all do to some degree. We present to the world one face, while all along we have another world in which we have unmentionable questions, crazy thoughts, and wild passions. But we have no one safe to express that internal drama, and so we're stuck. And then what we do is we type our questions into Google, and we scour the screens, for answers, and we sicken ourselves with comparatinitis. We might even send a postcard to at least tell the universe. And what I'm referring to here is this website called Post Secret, where you could send a completely anonymous postcard with your deepest secrets, and they will publish it. It hasn't got your name on it, but I've got a couple of examples on the website, and one of them is of a person getting baptized outside, and there's a person watching, and on the postcard it's typed, "Every Sunday I pretend that I'm Christian." So here's a person sending the message out there that they're pretending to be a Christian on Sundays. They might be thinking other things. Well, there's a wonderful story of a man in the Bible who had this dilemma. He didn't want the exposure, but he still had lots of questions. And actually every kid in Sunday school probably has memorized the answer he got. His name was Nicodemus, and he was someone who was supposed to have all the answers, the religious answers. And his role in society in Jesus' day was that of a Pharisee, and he was a keeper of the religion. But then, as typical, Jesus came along and he threw the rule book up in the air and instead talked about relationships. And we find the story of Nicodemus in the Bible in 3 places, all actually in the book of John, which is interesting in and of itself because John was the lover. But the first is when Nicodemus came to see Jesus, and by night. And that's a really important phrase, and here's the passage. Now, there was a Pharisee, a man named Nicodemus, who was a member of the Jewish ruling council, and he came to Jesus at night and said, "Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one could perform the signs you are doing if God were not with him." Now, it's interesting to see that Nicodemus came to Jesus at night. He didn't want to be seen connecting with the Christ, but he was hungry with questions. And so many of us are like Nicodemus. We're just hungry with questions, but if they were to be told, we could lose our social ranking, our status, safety, even our family and our friends. If we risk exposure if we show ourselves. Well, the next time we meet Nicodemus is when he is defending Jesus' right to free speech. And here's the passage. Nicodemus, who had gone to Jesus earlier and who was one of their own number being the Pharisees, who were having a go at Jesus, asked the Pharisees, "Does our law condemn a man without first hearing him to find out what he's been doing?" So here he is. He's actually saying, "Hold on, I just want to clarify something here. I'm going to defend Jesus on this. I want to hear him." So he's sort of coming out, and saying, "Okay, come on, I want to defend this." And then the final time, and this is amazing, is when he cares for the crucified body of Jesus. And we find it in John 19. And interesting point is that he is joined by another secret servant, another person who had a lot to fear. And here's the passage. Later, Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for the body of Jesus. Now, Joseph was a disciple of Jesus, but secretly, because he feared the Jewish leaders. Boy, there's a lot of fear going on, isn't there? And with Pilate's permission, he came and took the body away. He was accompanied by Nicodemus, the man who had visited Jesus at night. Look, here's John saying, this is the significant fact about Nicodemus. He visited Jesus at night. So Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds. And, this was to wrap Jesus' body. They didn't, cared for Jesus' body. And so, taking Jesus' body, the two of them wrapped it with the spices and strips of linen. This was in accordance with the Jewish burial customs. Both men, living in fear, were the ones to touch the crucified body of Jesus. The secret servants. Amazing, eh? It's amazing. Look, are you living in fear of something or someone? The body of Christ welcomes your attention. Look, by the way, note that Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds. Now that's 34 kilos for us who use metrics like myself. Uh, Nothing secret about this man's love for Jesus. That would have been a heavy load, but also quite a substantial volume. Yeah, it would have been quite something, quite noticeable. That's what I'm saying. Look, I want to connect with people living in fear of exposure. Someone once wrote on my whiteboard, "Will I be loved if they knew the real me?" They were living in fear. And we could add other questions of exposure. Will I be loved if they find out about my porn addiction? Will I be loved if they find out about my comfort eating? Will I be loved if they find out about me getting help? Will I be loved if I don't go to Sunday church anymore? What's your secret that you fear exposure of? And so we come by night looking for connection. And in the story of Nicodemus, we see a story of spiritual formation, from the question said in private to being with another secret servant in the adornment of a dead body. Look, I imagine I've got this picture of Nicodemus sneaking through the dark alleys and streets, and then finally he comes to the place where Jesus was having a rest, and he knocks on the door. Waits, he hides in the shadows, and the door opens, and he quickly dashes in. Jesus and his followers looked to see a man, a Pharisee, and they wonder, and he has questions himself. Is it safe to speak? Is there a traitor in the room? He moves close to Jesus, just close enough for him and Jesus, and probably John, because John was Jesus' closest friend, I think. So he moves close into Jesus, and with a whisper, he begins his carefully prepared question. But, Jesus, typical Jesus, throws him a question about his question. And it's a style of opening up the heart for a deeper connection. And Jesus is a master at this style of meeting the heart. And by the way, Jesus still throws us questions that invite us to walk on water. And when we come with our deeper secrets to God, we come to one who is fully aware of the whole of our story. God knows more about us and our story than we know ourselves. Therefore, nothing surprises God. Nothing will shock them. God is not one to expose us to the darkness and the frigidity of nakedness. They clothe us with compassion and love. They envelop us with community. They don't throw us to the opinions and judgments of humanity. They don't have a judge's gavel ready to fall upon the tenderness of a secret. Look, I need someone to welcome all my mystery, all those secrets, questions and fears. Not someone to spread the word and to pick up a microphone. I've been there and I've had that, and it hurts. I also don't want someone to give me a quick answer, the textbook solution. I want someone to explore the secrets and offer me other questions that journey me down new paths. And isn't that what Jesus did with so many? He spoke in parables, stories about wheat and wind, hidden treasures, lost coins. Stories were told, and they confused those who were listening with logic. But to those who were listening with a heart, a hungry heart, there was just an allurement, a desire for more. So how does it work here on Turning the Page? Do you fear exposure? Well, how it works here is that you can knock on my door anytime by sending me an email. It's as private as that. barry@turningthepage.co.nz. Easy. Also, you can access all the books, courses, conversations with me on a pay what you want basis, which includes free, because you may be a person that has someone watching your bank account and you don't want them to know. See, I am trusting in a God of bigger economic providence than what humanity is constraining itself to. You can come out of the dark here. You don't need to be alone anymore. Hey, here's some quotes for you to think about. Grace shows up when logic breaks down. Richard Rohr. Love acts like a giant magnet that pulls out of us like iron filings every recorded injury, every scar. Terence Real. Integrity is often a willingness to hold the dark side of things instead of reacting against them, denying them or projecting them elsewhere. Projecting our anxiety elsewhere. Richard Rohr. And Larry Crabb says that sensitive listeners respond to comments with words that convey an interest in hearing more, sentences that open the door to information. Words that open doors transmit two messages. 1. I'm interested in whatever you have to say. 2. I'll accept you regardless of what you say. Question. Where have you felt exposed? Number 2, what are the secrets that you want to have someone listen to with openness and love? And 3, what would it be like to be in the room where Jesus and Nicodemus are in conversation? Ooh, that's another room I just like to be in, just watching, listening in, seeing all the non-verbals going on, seeing all the puzzlement, the love. Hey, send me an email. Love to get to know you, your responses, your questions, your secrets. I'm not going to share them anywhere else. And it's barry@turningthepage.co.nz. And just another big thank you to everyone who supports what we're doing here, either through Patreon or through other ways. Just so thankful for you, and may you just know God's providence towards you in the way you do that. Hey, until next week, I love you, and please, I just love to hear from you. Okay, bye.